to trigger some spiritual awakening in everyone. We are continuing today what I started last week on Wednesday morning, which I had to record because this is my first live. And we are going to discuss further Sandra's questions. So what is real? What is reality? She said it's very difficult to become aware of the energies through our five senses. What are our additional senses which we have never been noticed or used before? How can we start using them? Well, one of the senses, of course, is extrasensory perception through auric fields, which functions like an additional antenna. We most likely, or most of us, might not be able to see it with our physical eyes. However, with a little training and tuning in, one can actually see auras or the electromagnetic field around the person. And for that, we use extrasensory perception, which starts, we talked about this a little bit in the last show, here on the third eye center with the glands, pineal gland, pituitary gland, and so on, which also the Egyptians refer to the Eye of Horus. How can we activate those? That's a good question. We can activate it through meditation and certain practices. The certain practices I would recommend have to do with envisionment, because we want to get our mind out of the way so that we can go beyond the mind and beyond the mind body. We have physical body, emotional body, mental body, the mind, and ethereal body, spiritual body, and so on. There are some other bodies we can discuss in a later time. But the true connection to who you really are and to your higher self, so to speak, happens through the soul spark, which sits in the third eye center. And that's the little spark which scientists have seen leave the body when we are dying. And then our physical body gets instantly a few milligrams lighter or a few grams lighter. You can do some research on that. There are certain articles written about it. What happens physiology-wise when the body dies? What happens with the spirit? And they have done weighing measurements, and it was always the same grams which were leaving instantly at death. So that's one thing. And the envisionment to connect with the third eye center with this golden soul spark here, which also can be seen in aura photography when a person has the third eye wide awakened. Maybe I dig some old aura pictures up one time and show you guys. Then we see here a golden glow. And that's where the saints are painted with a golden halo, because the saints were soul aware. And what does that mean, being soul aware? Being soul aware means that you're operating from a higher perspective, from a higher self, not so much from duality that this is good, this is bad, from a more saintly view of non-judgmentalism. How do we can obtain that? Begin by meditation. My recommendation would be to open the gateway of soul through the always and ever existing soul strand. And how I do the soul strand meditation or the golden light meditation is very, very simple. The first thing is to envision the golden sun over your head. That's for your higher self, symbolically speaking. Or you can also envision it coming from the central sun, because ultimately that's where we all came from. Then one ray of the golden sun floats into the top of your head, the crown chakra, into every single cell of your brain, eyes, nose, mouth, throat and neck, shoulders, arms, hands, fingertips, along the spine and muscle structure, into the heart and chest opening both wide, into the solar plexus to make it more radiant, into the whole digestive system, hips, legs, knees, calves, feet, and through the feet into the ground like roots. You can then let it all go with all the stress we have storing a day, or all the mental worries and fears. Let it all go for Mother Earth to recycle. And if you want to be more conscious about what we send to Mother Earth, sending her conscious love with the golden strand from our higher self, from our divinity point, and bring it through the Earth Star, that's the star under our feet, connecting us in a loving, divine way with Mother Earth, and then sending the root systems through our feet, the golden roots through our feet, into the core center of Mother Earth. There are a lot of crystals in the Earth's core, and we can connect with them and hold them with our visionary golden strand roots. And then as we are anchoring ourselves to be also supported by Mother Earth, we can bring her love back up through us with the golden light. And then we can let it flow through our heart center into our aura, your electromagnetic field, and fill all holes which might have been created by the dramas of our life. After that, we can bring it further up again, and like a fountain, also to become stronger and create a, protective shielding around us. Another way to create a protective shielding around us is to bring this gold, which we have now filled up in our aura, and then condense it to a golden ring of fire that other low vibrations cannot harm us anymore. And then we can send our things back to who we really are and consciously now protect it, connect, and have our channel here wide open. The next, we can invite our true presence in, and the true presence of our angelic beingness from the higher we are. And that's where we are going to train their extrasensory perceptions. By going from the three-dimensional perception of the five physical senses to the extrasensory perceptions of the ethereal senses, which we acquire along the line, the higher up we go with our understanding. And as I said the last time in our last interview with Sandy Troop, it is important not to judge anything. And that's, I think, a pretty hard part. By the way, my name is Claudia Granger. I'm going to be your host today for this EarthStar Talk show, and I hope you will enjoy it and get something from it. So, energies coming from the heart is powerful. How can we better use this power during our daily lives and during our ascension? Very good question. And I want to give you an example of my own life, which happened fairly recently, this example. So I didn't want to be in the limelight. I didn't want to be famous. I didn't want to be in any kind of shows, even though I have been featured on some haunting shows with, putting demons out of houses and out of people's bodies. But I didn't really want to be too on the forefront and too much known. Why? Because I always had the feeling it would have dire consequences. I didn't look into it first why that would be, but then it came to me in a session I had with a past life regressionist, a dear friend of mine and client, who got me right to the point where all the drama happened. And I saw people tortured in front of my eyes and beheaded and killed in Colosseum in Rome. And me hanging out to dry there, all under the Colosseum in the dungeon, so to speak, right next to the gladiator booths. And that was really shocking. So that life, as all lives are not past, but I perceive them as parallel as we are multidimensional beings, was wafting still into this one. It was bleeding, so to speak, the experience of that life into this one. And I didn't want to take the responsibility that anything would happen to my fellow beings or maybe possible followers. So I didn't want to do any of this, what I'm doing now. And then after the shocking revelation, I decided to dig a little bit deeper in how to get rid of this feeling. So I put myself into the channeling mode, like I described to you right now, and asked the best and highest source of my guiding one team and my higher self to give me answers. And to my surprise, somebody came right away and said, I'm Marcus Aurelius. I'm the one who caused you the pain. I'm still getting chills when I think about it. And I want to help you with your endeavors in this lifetime to bring the message out you're supposed to do and to trigger awakening in people. But you need to understand that we agree to this exercise of prosecution so that you understand people who feel prosecuted, who feel depressed, who feel in drama, who feel in polarity, who feel in a very bad spot in their life. You agree to this. You agree to this prosecution to understand the darkest of the human nature when we are getting really mean to each other, even though we are co-fellow beings. And after that, he said, I will help you to rectify this because I need to balance it for my own soul ascension. And I'm helping you. But to be able to help you completely, I need to have your forgiveness. And the picture in our mind about how Marcus Aurelius looked like, the Emperor of Rome at the time, was very clear. So I gave him my love and I said, I forgive you and I forgive myself for what happened in our conflict. And I repeated it 3 times and really felt it. And in this moment of feeling it, I could realize that something was lifting from my shoulders. I got lighter. And even in this moment, speaking here to you, I feel a lightness. I feel a divine connection. I feel the love of this person who has persecuted me in another lifetime, now supporting me and standing right behind me and having his hands on my shoulder saying, it's all good. You will get your job done, which you came here to do. So that was an example of forgiveness. And later I looked up Marcus Aurelius, and he was a great philosopher, of course, Emperor of Rome. But he was also a biggest persecutor of the Christian faith at the time, because he thought the mass of Christian was a threat to his authority, because they, focused on a different authority, which was a little higher up. So beside the heart and mind, there are more energy centers in the body. How can we activate them? Sandra, I think I answered that. My all-around meditation with the golden light would be, I think, the all-around best one, including, of course, breathing. When we do not breathe, we cannot bring energy in our body, and then we don't have anything to expel and make our energy wider. The golden light meditation, you can fill the golden light bubble of your aura and then widen it and widen it and widen it and widen it. And one of my How to See Your Aura classes, I let my students expand their golden light aura into the room, into the city, into the country, around the globe, into the ethers, and as far as I can imagine, to really expand their energy field on all levels, and then let it gently come back again to their natural aura self. And she then had another very interesting question about fish and can fish survive in the air? Can humans survive in the energies? She talked about possibly, the convergence. Can fish who are natural in water and are not even aware of water, and we are natural in air, we are not even aware about, that we are in air, we are not thinking about it constantly. But when we humans are in water, then we have to do something about it, then we have to be mindful. Can we breathe underwater? Most likely not, if we do not have any help. Well, even though there are exceptions. But a fish in air, can they be living on air? So she talks about this border perception. And so she asked, is it possible for the fish and the humans to meet where the water ends and the air starts? Is it possible for the humans in the next level to meet where the oxygen ends and the universe starts? She said, I might sound a little crazy. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Yes, Sandra, I understand what you're trying to say. But I think I mentioned in some of the other previous shows that it's not so much about the air and the water. It's all energy. And as your question comes from a point of three-dimensional sense, and we have a sense which transcends everything. And that's the extrasensory perception of energy per se, when we identify ourselves as this energy being and we go into four dimension with our perception, and we are in that perception long enough, we transcend our body, we get lighter and lighter and lighter. And there are some people who, even through meditation and filling their body with light and certain breathing techniques, can levitate. And so you be able to, with your mind force as power, when you are in the vastness of all there is, ultimately when you go to your higher self. And I think Joe Dispenza describes it as the intelligence of existence or something like that. Then we are connected to the fields. We connected to all that is. We are connected to oneness. And when we operate that muscle of training to be in that state of mind, it's a certain mindset, but goes beyond. Actually, the mind can be a stepping stone to higher grounds. But when we let our judgment go, which the mind plays a big part of, the good and the bad and so on, and we go beyond, then we use that muscle of spirituality and come to the oneness point of understanding, the tip here of the triangle, and we climb the ladder of non-judgmentalism, and the less we judge, the higher we go. And here's the 0 point of non-judgmentalism, and we can go higher up. So to give that understanding a little bit to your question, I want to read a poem which I find wonderful, and it describes better that I could put it in wording exactly what I remember step by step about how we came down here. And it's exactly the opposite, how we can back up to go back to our oneness. And dear viewers, I hope you bear with me a little bit. And where I find this poem from is from a soul sister of my star group. She is Solara Anra, and her Anra, sorry. And from her book, The Star-Borne, A Remembrance for the Awakened Ones. Lovely book. I love it because I get a lot of ideas for my clients from this. And I loved this poem because, again, it reflects exactly what we need to do in reverse to go back up into the higher dimension where the fish can breathe the air and where the humans can breathe the water on the higher dimensional perception. And there's another person I love to mention here. That's Anastasia from the Ringing Cedars of Russia. She describes our perception we can use to look at other dimensions or remote viewing. We can use our ether body or our second body or our spirit body and do like remote viewing through that. We travel, like we travel at night, we travel with the spirit body and go and see things. When we use this body, we can be seen by others when we visit them. And it happened to me many times that my clients were saying like, you visited me last night and we had a discussion about so-and-so. Or you visited me last night and you gave me a healing. I do that at night. Yes, I work a lot at night. So they could see me because I did that work in my ether body, in my spirit body, so to speak. And even when you do remote viewing in that body, let's say I want to check out how the streets of New York look right now, and I bring myself into a relaxed state, close my eyes, and go out of my body consciously and always connected with the gold or silver cord, and then going over there to the coordinates I gave myself. And I can see the people there and what's happening there. And they, if they are clairvoyant, using their extrasensory perception, they can see me when they use it. Yeah, they might see me like as a ghost or a shadow or some kind of figurine or flicker out of the corner of their eye, something like that. But if I use what Anastasia used, the light beam or the spiritual flashlight, then you do not need to use the body, which could be hijacked by some forces. We go into that in another time. And we use this light beam to check out and travel along that light beam of soul, going higher up and check from there, how is it now in the fourth dimension on Mars, fifth dimension on Mars, sixth dimension on Mars. We can go and ascend through the dimension. It's like an elevator effect. You are in three dimension. Fourth dimension is oneness. It's where oneness starts and then goes higher up. And the less polarity you will experience. We are on the lowest polarity level, I think, exists. And so you can give yourself coordinates to see things. She describes this wonderfully in her books, The Ringing Cedars of Russia. Actually, she gave instructions to Vladimir Megre and helped him to write his books. Vladimir Megre, The Ringing Cedars of Russia is, I think, the first book, and then there is a whole series. Really interesting and also valid for the upcoming times, because we need to find a good connection back to Mother Earth if we want to survive the next, some years. So here now to the poem. And this gives me chills again, because this is why I want to do the show and answer your questions. This is why I want to do the show, to give you an opportunity to tell me your difficulties in your spiritual development, and maybe I can download an answer for you in that regard. So before us stands an open doorway. It is now time to step through. This is the process wherein we merge to the vibrantly alive, true one, anchored in oneness, serving full awakened on planet Earth. In the beginning, there was but one star, the star that we are. Together as one, we shimmered and rotated in the vast empty heavens. Each spark, each glowing ray was the magnificence of our emerged essence. Our star was one being, complete, containing everything. Then critical mass. Our star imploded, then exploded, sending starry fragments of itself shooting across the endless, empty universe, up, down, under, and through. Cascading fragments cast outward upon the heaven currents, star rays churning with debris of stars, fragments, split apart, becoming smaller, 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 spreading throughout the sky, smaller, 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 and ever further apart. We held together as best we could, focusing on the one star that we had been, that we truly are. Smaller, smaller, smaller fragments went apart. In Mandalic display, like fireworks illuminating the sky in their brief instant of glory, becoming further apart, separate, remote, isolated, alone. Finally, we became individual units of consciousness, thus the angels were born. Possibly you remember now flying so freely through the celestial heavens, separate, yes, but limitless, still remembering our divine origin, united as one vast starry beings, all-encompassing love, flowing through us as we danced and played with our angelic brethren, all of whom were fragments of our one star. How could we not love those who are mirrors of our one being? Each of us simply a facet of that same shining crystal rays of one radiant star. As the games were played and those golden rays combined our essence into vast heavenly beings, filling the silent skies with waves of song, dancing joyously in shimmering starlight. And when we merged our essences, making truest love, we sent rippling currents rocking the star rays, bursting new galaxies, spiraling ever outward across the celestial seas. Our transparent bodies of light sparkled with radiant tints, as though brushed with stardust. In truth, that's what we are. Remember, we are one star. Now we were winged, angelic wings that soared outstretched in the fullest flight, gliding effortlessly throughout the endless night. The glory of the freedom of those bygone times, so joyful and precious, now that we know, we chose to undergo. We chose to undergo. Maybe now you remember, as do I, the memory fills me with forgotten longing, banished tears raining down my very worldly face. There I speak of the call, that urgent summons to serve. So many of us responded and descended down to earth. At first it was child's play, angels openly creating on earth, birthing a new paradise, walking about with wings unfurled. Then, dear ones, I remind you gently, the second call sounded. The time of decision had come. Many of the angels departed quickly, returning to the celestial realms, while all of us who hear these words, we chose to remain and serve. Transmute matter. Merge the heavens and earth, transforming duality into oneness. Naturally, we assumed this could be completed effortlessly and quickly. But of course, that was before we had ever experienced the illusion of duality, time, and separation. Yes, the descendant into matter we remembered well, although long has it been veiled, hidden behind the mists of time. The brightest of us volunteered willingly for earthly service and received that lethal blow which blocked us into prison of density, of forgetting who we truly are. Our experiences of the fall are still carried by us today. Shock, betrayal, abandonment, deep sorrow, anger, and guilt lodged within ourselves and cellular memories waiting to be released. And remember, I just talked about the scenario with Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, and me having now to release this memory through the forgiveness process. We forgot, dear ones, we truly did. Forgot our wings, forgot our star, forgot our divine origin, forgot we are angels, forgot our limitlessness, forgot that we are one. We judged ourselves severely, adding upon ourselves the weight of immense guilt and judgment. For had we not vowed never ever to forget the star that we truly are? Dearest starry brethren, please know within your hearts that this too was preordained. Forgetting was a necessary part of the process of transmutation of third-dimensional matter that we ourselves had chosen to do. Judge not yourselves harshly. You have not failed your mission. Understand this and forgive, for you must love yourself. I want to read this again. For you must love yourself, that you may be healed and loved. We of the heavenly realms, we who have remained home, cradled in the heart of one, have utmost love and gratitude for you. We honor your sacrifice and service. We understand the reasons why you need no longer cry. During that timeless instant that endured forever, heralding the onset of separation, you as angels emitted a stream of golden light, holographic projection of yourself, downward, earthward, a golden beam of starlight stretching all the way into matter. This was how you descended so far. A tiny star seed embedded itself into the density of Earth, sent by a shaft of golden starlight. This seed was the only part of you which needed to descend so far. Above in the starry heavens stood a huge golden angel watching over you. This angel is truly you. Only you have long forgotten that the part of you who incarnated was but a tiny fragment of the vastness of your full being. And that's why I gave you, dear ones, the golden light meditation that you could access and converse with and become and download the golden angel of who you truly are. You can start this process today. You do not have to wait tomorrow. It's so simple and it takes only a few moments of your time. At the moment of the star seeding of planet Earth by the angels, we experienced the sensation of splitting apart, of division, though in truth no separation ever took place. Yeah, because we put the blinkers on, like horses have blinkers to look forward. We just put that on to ourselves so that we would not be distracted from our vision. The golden beam which brought us here has ever remained in position. A golden cord always connects us to the star of one, from whence you have come, to which you shall return. The golden cord is really a ray of the shining star of one, the star of what we truly are. See, my beloved ones, that although we have long perceived ourselves to be far from home, we were never alone or separate or lost. We were never left the heart of the one. We are home right here, right now. That means when you connect with this golden light within you, when you connect with your third eye center, when you do the golden light meditation, the shaft of the gateway of the golden cord, you will feel better, even if you are in a deepest depression, if you feel so separated and lonely. I had recently a lot of people who felt so isolated from anything through the COVID disaster, isolated from, and shutdowns are already happening again. And this isolated feeling definitely supports this perception of depression. But remember, you have all 90 seconds, every 90 seconds, a chance to change your perception. So maybe choose to do this golden light meditation every day to create a neurotransmitter pathway in your brain, because it takes 28 repetitions to do so. So this long golden cord has ever served us as our link between spirit and matter. And see, that's, Sandra, where your question comes in. This golden cord served as the transmitter, as the link between spirit and matter, heaven and earth. Throughout our endless lifetimes, the golden cord has remained intact, always connected the earthly you to your fully empowered angelic self. Although you have often perceived your golden solar angel as outside of you, separate from you, as a guardian angel perhaps, this celestial guardian has guided you, ever protected and inspired you, enfolded you in all-encompassing love, understand you deeper than you have understood yourself, and judged you not. So I want to add on here, please invite this loving essence of your true self into your life today. Make a conscious effort to say, please, The angel of light, who I am, merge with me more today. Come into my life more today. Let me feel you more today. Now the call has sounded once again, inspiring us to rise and reawaken, to shake off all the shards of slumber and remember what we once knew. The angels, those shining golden ones who have watched over us so patiently since the birth of time. In dawn's creation, call out to us so to anchor them deep inside. In order to make the transition from duality to oneness, climbing up the golden stairways, retracing our footprints back home, we must expand beyond duality. We must balance and unite the opposites, melding all polarities back into one. Never ever before throughout the shifting sense of history have angels been free to incarnate on earth and earthly frequencies, anchoring themselves into the core of the matter. We have hereby entered the ancestral path homeward. So practically it is to understand that every single person in your life has meaning and is a mirror. So all the challenges, dear ones, you face right now are partially chosen by you freely for the experience of it and not to be judged. But to remember that this other soul is in essence that exact thing what you are, eternal soul, eternal being. And as I gave you the example with Marcus Aurelius and my horrific time there in the Roman lifetime, which wafted and bled into this existence and gave me a hard time, the only way to let it go is forgiveness and acceptance. I accept this. It had been part of my experience, but now I can let this go. I maybe came from a poor background with my parents and had to work hard to be who I am. But I don't begrudge my parents who bore me that experience. Now I can let it go. So the letting go is the most profound moment of freedom when we give ourselves permission to let duality go, to not any longer hold on to the pain and suffering where we say, I am in pain of this experience. I am in pain of that experience. I am in pain because of you or this circumstance or that circumstance. I know, dear ones, it is easier said than done. And I tell you that this not wanting to be seen and not wanting to be out in the open was carried within me for a long time. Yes, I did some TV shows, yes, but it was not as how often you're going to see me and put myself out there. It was a huge difficulty for me to overcome to do this. And now it's actually joy. So we can transmute and transform our low life, our 3D life, our painfulness in the body and mind and spirit anchored through different experience, through the centuries of incarnation, and we can go beyond into the oneness again. This is your call to action now. Try today to do one tiny part of forgiveness and ask yourself again, in the bigger scheme of things, if something happened to you today, if somebody cut in front of you with a parking spot and you get upset and say, well, this was mine. or something else. And instead of getting so upset about it, I recently had identity theft and I got really excited about it. And when my higher self kicked in and said, you know what? Whoever did this will get theirs. You are not responsible to call into action their retribution, that they get punished, even though I did police reports and whatnot, but that it didn't spiral out of control. So give yourself permission to let these incidents go and start with the small ones and then go to the bigger ones. Maybe family history, maybe whatever it is. One of the biggest things I think is about physical pains, when we have physical pain. And therefore, to make even that load lighter, I want to give you this exercise about how to instantly feel better. My guiding ones who gave this to me named this the Huna method, an ancient Hawaiian method. The energies, what we're doing now is working with our physical senses in the brain, the neurotransmitter pathways in the brain. So here it goes. Let's say you have a pain in your shoulder or in your heart. It can also be an emotional pain. It doesn't have to be a physical pain. You give it a color, form, shape, and temperature to triangulate in the brain where this feeling is created. Color, form, shape, and temperature is located in different parts in the brain. And as you describing to yourself your pain area and describe it with color, form, shape, and temperature, you're triangulating it. And in the middle is exactly that spot, neurotransmitter firing, which sponsors this physical reaction, this emotional reaction in your body. Then you do 21 rapid eye movements, meaning with closed eyes, you move your eyes to the very right, counts as 1, very left, counts as 2, and so on, 21 times with closed eyes. Then you breathe it from wherever it sits into the center of your heart, into a needle point in your heart with the essence of, I acknowledge you, you needed to be there. Remember, part of our experience, which we signed up for. And then, I do not need you anymore. We're sending it away. We're breathing it out. We are releasing it energetically. And that we do 8 times. Full force, deep breathing. The more and harder you breathe, the more you let it out there. Suck it in to your awareness and let it out, because you cannot let anything go before you're really aware of it. Like me, I didn't know where that fear was really originating until I saw the pictures where it was originating in this parallel life and past life of people being slaughtered. My fellowship were slaughtered in front of my eyes. Really gruesome. Still sends me a little pain in my heart, but even letting it go as we speak. And then we, after this breathing process of this 8 times, we confirm again, no, I do not want to have the expelled energy back. And then ask, how often would we need this process till the energy blockage is totally gone? Let's say 3 times. Then you ask, today or daily. If it's a daily process, signifies that it's a longer standing issue. And if it's just like 3 times today, it's not a big deal. But if it becomes, let's say, 21 times a day, then it's a really long, heavy load and a long-standing issue. And oftentimes when something like this happens, you have some other issue linked. So you might have to deflate one issue first so that you can deal with the other issue. But there is another scenario you can do after, and it's called the emotional release. That goes deeper and works through this point where you have the pain, suffering, or where your emotional pain sits, and you then tunnel through this emotional pain to see where it was really coming from. And that's where I saw these pictures. So I tunneled through the pain point and then saw these memories emerging from this past life. And then there are certain techniques I might tell you in my next life how to deal with this further. Or you continue with the Huna method, this instantly feel better method. You do your repetition until it really resolves itself. You can use it for migraines. You can use it for really deep pain structures. Try it out and see where that helps you, even with your depression maybe. For today, I say goodbye. And next time I'm going to talk in my next live on Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. Yeah, I know at 8 a.m. here, Sedona time. And now it's early and most people will work at this time, but you can always send me in questions. Please do not hesitate to give comments down below or send me questions either through the comments or through the email brilliance@claudiagranger.com or earthstartalk@gmail.com. It will definitely be handled and received. So next time we will do guardian angels, nighttime workers. How do soul empaths and guardian angels work together to prevent catastrophes? I think this is a really interesting theme. And all you empaths out there who wake up tired in the morning and do not know what is going on, just know that you did something at night, might want to watch the show because it's going to be about guardian angels, nighttime workers. All right. Till then, have a great day. Bye-bye.